Over to you, Paul.
Thank you. So what we'll talk about now is the Advanced Diploma courses. We offer Advanced Diploma courses in a range of different areas. Industrial automation, electrical engineering, oil and gas, mechanical engineering, civil and structural engineering. Now and there's a number of different advanced diplomas that we offer amongst those different sort of overall categories, but we do cover most of the main engineering areas. Our advanced diplomas are either 18 months or 2 years in length, right? It depends. We have a number, the majority are 18 months long, but we do have a number of them that are also 2 years in length. So the Advanced Diploma of Civil and Structural Engineering, for example, is a 2-year qualification, as is the Advanced Diploma of Leadership and Management. Again, we also have an Advanced Diploma of Applied Electrical Engineering that is also 2 years in length. As I mentioned before, we have instructors and assessors that are industry experts, right? So each sort of module or unit that is being sort of delivered, or it has a true industry expert that's helping and delivering that individual module. Now, they're contacted by students all the time. Students will have a number of different technical questions for them, questions that they're things they're not quite sure about. So all the students do have access to the instructors outside of the usual webinar times, right? So they're able to contact our instructors to ask them sort of questions on things they're not sure about. As we all know, engineering and technology training is pretty challenging in terms of it can be conceptually challenging. And so there's that support that all students have, right? Those instructors and assessors are there, and then there's rarely times when the students will ask a question that they're not able to easily and quickly respond to an answer. They really do know the module that is being delivered inside and out and backwards. We also have a team of assessors that go through all of the assessments. Obviously, it's an advanced diploma qualification, quite a high level qualification. So we need so all of the different modules need to be assessed appropriately. And so we have assessors that go through. They'll assess the submissions from the students, their assignment submissions, and provide quality feedback to the students depending on how they went in the assessment. Similar to the way I was saying before, we have a designated team of learning support officers. Now, these learning support officers are based in different parts of the world. We've got learning support officers in Australia, in Africa, as well as in New Zealand and Asia. Now, these learning support officers work as a team. Every intake of every course has a designated learning support officer. So as I said before, with the professional certificate of competency courses, these learning support officers are there to help you. They're there to support you. They're not engineers. Any technical questions need to go to the instructors, but they're there for pretty much everything else, right? Maybe there's something, some reason why you're unable to submit an assessment by the due date. Maybe you're not sure where to find something on our learning management system, Moodle. A range of different sort of areas that the learning support officers will assist with. They're also there to help and guide you along. 18 months of pretty hard study is, it's challenging, right? And students do need to know that they're not alone, that there's someone there to help and support them. So from time to time, you get an email, you haven't attended the last couple of webinars. Is there some reason? Can I help you? Just to sort of encourage you, to get you sort of back on track with your studies, so that you're able to successfully complete the course, right? Because we want all of our students to successfully complete the course. In terms of the resources, we have students in our advanced diploma courses have access to a huge library of information that they can access. The library, the e-library is really great. Sometimes, for example, in a module, you might want to go further into that area than perhaps the remit of the course allows. It allows you to go into these into some significant detail. The resources that we provide are in every sense of the word significant and available to all students on the course. So all of our advanced diploma students have access to the e-library through their learning management system, Moodle. In order to successfully complete the course, students need to be able to allocate 10 to 15 hours a week, right? Now that is based on feedback from past graduates and over a period of time. And I do suggest that everyone needs to, everyone who's looking at enrolling into an advanced diploma course has that 10 to 15 hours that they can allocate per week to the course. We found that students that are able to allocate 10 to 15 hours a week do better in the course. They make the most of the course. They learn the most and have a much higher chance of successfully completing and graduating with the qualification at the end of the course, which is so it's important that students have sufficient time to allocate towards their studies. Melinda earlier, I'm not sure if everyone was there, was online at the same time, mentioned our remote labs. The remote labs are an absolutely critical part of the course. So our courses are not just theory, we teach you theory and then that's it. We have remote labs as in a number of different locations around the world. Now these remote labs really do reflect software used in industry. So students will throughout the course, they will access our remote labs to achieve a specific task, depending on the nature of the module or the unit that's being delivered. And then we have the remote labs as part of our assessments as well. So you'll look at the remote lab, you'll perform a task, and then put your findings onto the assignments. So most of our modules have both a written and also a practical assignment. All of our advanced diploma courses are accredited within the Australian system, and they're nationally accredited right throughout Australia. We also do have a number of organisations that recognise our qualifications. A number of our advanced diploma qualifications are also accredited under the Dublin Accord. So recognised by Engineers Australia and the signatories that all the different countries, all the different industry bodies of different countries that have signed up to the Dublin Accord. So it gives students a truly the ability to move locations with their qualifications. They can quite easily within signatories under the Dublin Accord can move to a different location, and that qualification is then recognised in that location. We have a lot of information on our website in terms of accreditation, each different areas and things like that. So it's quite a lot of information provided on accreditation, because I understand that that's an important area for students. We use Moodle, which is a learning management system. As I mentioned, I guess before, it has everything you need for the course. So students will have their assessments. They'll find their assessments on Moodle. They'll complete their assessments, and then they'll submit those assessments through Moodle. The assessors will mark the assessments, provide feedback to the students, and that feedback is then, and the marked assessments provided also on Moodle. Through Moodle, the students will be able to access the e-library mentioned before. They'll be able to access the webinar platform, which is also they'll be able to access a range of different things, resources that they need as they're progressing through the qualification. All of the advanced diploma courses, because of the nature of the advanced, they've got a significant level qualification, have specific entry criteria. The entry criteria is important because it protects the students, right? We found that the entry criteria, a bit tongue-tied, the entry criteria are there because we know that the students that meet that entry criteria have a very strong chance of successfully completing the course. There'll be the requirement for previous studies and also the requirement for work experience. And work experience is very important because it's not an entry-level qualification. So students will need relevant industry experience in order to gain access to the course. There's also the English language requirement as well. But each course has, that's just a generalized overview. Each individual advanced diploma has specific entry criteria that students will need to meet, and on our website in the advanced diploma that you're looking at studying, there'll be detailed information on the entry criteria. I mentioned the assessments a little bit before. The assessments, there'll be, it's a formal qualification, so each module needs to be properly assessed, right? And so there'll be a quiz, as a general rule. There'll be a quiz at the midpoint of the module, and there'll be a written and also a practical assignment due once the delivery of the module has concluded. So you'll be doing assessments along the way. Generally, you're looking at somewhere between 16 to 20 modules in an advanced diploma, more or less depending on the advanced diploma. But the assessments are there to test your knowledge and understanding of the module. And once you successfully complete the quiz and the assignments, then you'll pass a module, and when you progress through the course. And then once you've completed all the modules, then you'll be looking to graduate with the qualification. The webinars, each advanced diploma will there'll be the live webinars, right? So again, we link up the students with the instructors in real time, right? So the instructors will be communicating with the students at specific times, and depending on the advanced diploma, there will be sessions that are there to cater for the time zones of the students. Some students, for example, would prefer to go home, have some dinner, then attend a webinar. Others perhaps prefer to attend a webinar when they first wake up in the morning before work. Different people learn in different ways. And so all the webinars are scheduled. They're scheduled well in advance too. So students will be able to plan their time. They'll know upcoming webinars, when they will be, and everything, as I mentioned before, is on Moodle. So very available to students on Moodle. They'll know when the webinars are. In terms of the actual the software, I know that there's so you've got the Moodle learning management system, but there's also Blackboard Collaborate is the software we use for the webinars, the remote labs, the e-library. It can sound a little bit daunting in a session like this, but believe me when I say that the students become very familiar with it all very, very, very quickly. And the core hub is Moodle, where the students will go into Moodle, and from Moodle they'll have access to all the different parts of the course that they need. And if they're ever not, and if a student's ever not sure, then they will be able to just contact their learning support officer, who will be able to guide them in the right direction, so they'll know exactly where to where to find something. We usually find that a couple of weeks into a course, the students are very familiar with the course, how it will run, where to access the information they need, and then that would then that you put that aside. Then the students can focus on the actual learning, the technical aspects of the course. We make, to help the students, we don't have any webinars in the first week of the course. We have an orientation period. It gives the students time just to familiarise themselves with the course and to learn how the course will run, how to access the different pieces of information that they need. Fantastic. Thanks, Caroline. I'm not able to move the slides, Caroline, if you can move it to the next one. Awesome. So what we have here is the some of the more popular advanced diplomas. The top two: the Advanced Diploma of Industrial Automation Engineering and the Advanced Diploma of Applied Electrical Engineering. They're our two most popular courses, right? Every time we schedule one of those two courses, then many students will enroll all the time in those courses. Mechanical engineering and the civil and structural engineering, also hugely popular. But there's just some other courses in there. We've got industrial data communications, we've got electrical instrumentation, oil and gas, mechanical, civil, a range of different things. And hopefully there'll be an advanced diploma that that suits your needs. Thanks, Caroline.
Thanks, Paul. There's just a few questions that have popped up in your session. I will start with the one about remote labs. Are you able to elaborate on the remote labs in the professional certificate courses?
Yes, I can. So as we know with engineering software, there's a couple of challenges with engineering software. One is that they're usually not Mac compatible. Sometimes the file size is really large for a student to download onto their computers. So there's a few little challenges there. So what we do is we essentially put the software on our computers in different locations around the world, and then the students will log into our system. So that means that the student doesn't need to have the fanciest computer. They do need a good internet connection, but essentially they're logging into our system, and then they're able to perform a task. In terms of the professional certificate of competency course, it depends on the remote lab will depend on the nature of the course that's being delivered. We've got a lot of software packages to meet the needs of the different sort of professional certificate of competency courses that we have. It gives us, I find that with the remote labs, the graduates often say that they think they're really the feedback is really positive. Students really enjoy using the remote labs. It gives the students a real practical hands-on feel, so they can actually see what they're learning in practice, see how it works and the impact. Thanks, Carol.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Another question from Jeffrey. He is looking at enrolling into our Advanced Diploma in Mechanical Engineering and was just wanting a little bit more information around when the webinars are run. He's obviously working full time, so just wanting to make sure that he's able to still participate.
Yeah, it's a good question, Jeffrey. So the Advanced Diploma of Mechanical Engineering Technology is it's an 18-month qualification. And when a student applies for the course, one of the questions that's asked for in the application process is when are you available for webinars? And then then the learning support officer, what they'll do is they'll put all the different times together and look at webinar times to best suit the students, right? So each advanced diploma will be unique in that, different cohorts, different sort of requirements. But you'll find that the webinars will be weekly. So every week you'll have a webinar for the 18 months. One thing to to note though, right, our students are working professionals, they're busy, they've got families and commitments. All of the webinars are recorded. So what you can, if you're unable to attend live, what you can do is you just watch the recording, and you can watch the recording and you can download it. There's a range of different ways you can watch it, to watch the recording. And then what you can do is watch the recording and do a summary of what you've learned from that webinar. And if you send that summary to the learning support officer, then those summaries go towards the 70% attendance requirements for the course.